Mr. Towne, I think the time has come. This is the worst job that I've ever done. Get up early and I come home late. It leaves no time for me to procreate. Mr. Towne, I think that you should know we'll both be happy when you let me go. Selling things that people never need makes you rich, but I'm on chicken feed. Today I swear I'll walk away. So take your job, stick it where you may. Today I swear I'll walk away. You'll have to snare some other mug and make him pay. Mr. Towne, now don't you act surprised. Surely you can realize we both know that this day had to come, and it's the best thing that I've ever done. The day I swear I'll walk away. So take your job, stick it where you may. Today I swear I'll walk away. You have to snare some other mug and make him pay. What about the bills piled on the floor? What about the knocking on my door? This world is cruel and laughs at all our dreams. What can we do? Just look at Charlie Sheen. One day I swear I'll walk away. Take your job and stick it where you may. One day I swear I'll walk away. You'll have to snare some other mug and make him pay. One day I swear I'll walk away. So take your job, stick it where you may. The day I swear I'll walk away. You'll have to snare some other mug and make him pay. Hello, welcome to Guitar Trek. I am Richard J. Dowling, and I'm talking about Today I Swear, which is this week's song, and a little bit about how I came to write it. To be honest, it really happened so quickly that I don't remember very much about the process. What I might do one day, if I'm really brave, would be actually write the song while filming it. Or at least write the process of, film the process of coming up with the melody, which is usually I come up with the melody first, I mean, as far as I know, I've always come up with the melody first, and then I write the lyrics to fit the melody. I can't think of anything I've done where it's been the opposite way around. For the moment, I'm not brave enough. Also, it would probably, I mean, it would not be a very interesting video, I think, because it would be an hour of me trying and failing to come up with the melody and singing loads of stuff out of tune, and basically horrendous mistakes until eventually I come across, I stumble on something that I like. And what interests me at the moment, at the time of doing this video, is what I was just sort of musing in my head what I was going to say, was how do I decide when I'm happy with a song? Because I mean, technically, if you play a chord, and any series of notes over it is technically a melody, but I tend to favour what I think of as strong melodies, memorable melodies, and I mean, for every song that I mean, this is the 21st song in the series, and I've got hundreds of other songs that probably I will never record in any way. I had the idea at the time, I thought it was good, but then I listened back to it and I think, no, it's not good enough. So there is some sort of, like, I hold myself to some kind of standard when it comes to songwriting. And why do some songs make the grade and others don't? And it really, all I can think of is that the melody has in some way come to life, and so I can listen to something I've recorded, like an idea that I've had, and I've just quickly recorded it on my phone, and then I come back the next day, I listen to it and I think, oh no, that's nothing. And another melody, I think, oh, actually, I've forgotten all about that, and that one was really sort of, got my excitement. And why do you get excited about some ideas and not about others? I mean, it's a very personal thing. Everyone would probably have their own standards, their own views on this. So I'm giving you my view, and this is a very vague thing to talk about, but I think it's something that most songwriters don't tend to talk about it very often. They'll just sort of, there's a lot of mythologizing that goes on. I read this interview where Bob Dylan was saying, I think it was about All Along the Watchtower, I wrote it in the middle of a thunderstorm. And it could be true that he did write it in the middle of a thunderstorm, but the way he tells you it, it's as if he was divinely inspired by Thor, or the god of thunder, or whoever, into writing this song. Whereas the truth would be more along the lines of, I was writing this song and there was a thunderstorm at the same time. In the same way, this song, I wrote it, the sun was shining. It doesn't mean I was, inspired by the sun god. I do think music is a very magical thing, but I don't like people mysticizing elements of it, where it doesn't need it. I mean, just in itself, a good song, I think, is the most beautiful, majestic, and mystical thing in the world. But you don't need to fluff it up more. That the process of writing it, usually it's a down to earth process. Sometimes you have just inspiration pops into your head. I mean, the famous example is with Paul McCartney dreaming the melody for Yesterday. But of course, that would be Paul McCartney dreaming the melody of Yesterday after he'd spent a few years writing songs and being in the habit of writing songs. So it's not too out of this world to think that his subconscious was just working on some idea that he'd had maybe forgotten about and just brought it back into his mind when he was asleep. And in fact, I think there's a song analysis. There's a really good series somewhere on Wikipedia, I think somewhere, analysis of Beatles songs, and I can't for the life of me remember now the guy who did it, but it's a fantastic series all about the musical and lyrical analysis of their songs. And it mentions there's a possible sort of template for Yesterday, which was Georgia. And I won't go into more. I can't remember much more about it. But so basically, we tend to, too often, songwriters tend to want to give the impression that these songs arrive sort of fully formed because we're geniuses and we don't really need to work very hard at them. Whereas most of the songs I work on, I really have to work to get them to where they're halfway decent. Particularly with lyrics, where for me the lyrics are work. The music is the play I really enjoy playing around with ideas and coming up with melodies. So today's song, Today I Swear, started off, I was just playing on a D chord. I don't know if you can see that because I haven't got like real-time monitoring on my computer system. So I really wanted to do a song with a very simple strumming pattern. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's because doing these one take videos is quite stressful. So any song that's easy to play is now starting to come to the forefront of songs that I'm going to propose for the Song a Week challenge, because I hate having to do anything that's potentially going to trip me up and mean I'm going to have to do a horrendous number of takes to be able to get it all into one video and get one video where I've done a reasonable performance of the song. So, and these things are very important when writing songs, is the performance side of it, because when I write songs thinking of, oh, I'm going to be doing this for the Song a Week challenge, I'll be thinking of stuff that's going to be quite easy to play, quite easy to sing, that's going to, I guess it's going to be I'm very conscious of the fact that I don't have a band. I'm going to be doing it either with an acoustic guitar or with an electric guitar with the minimum effects, and then I don't process it afterwards. I don't put anything on. I don't do overdubs. So it's just me in the room, and what you see is what you get. So then the songs that I'm putting into this YouTube channel are starting to develop along these lines of songs that are quite easy to play, songs that are quite easy to sing, and that more or less work with just one guitar. Even though all of the songs I write, I'm thinking of a full band down the line doing it. So I wanted a song that was just very simple. This is just a D chord. Na, 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 na. I can't even find the notes now. Mr. Town, Mr. Town, I think that... No, that's not it. Hold on. Mr. Town, I think the time has come. This is the worst job that I've ever done. Okay, well, so I can sing in tune when I put my mind to it, but obviously that shows you the behind the scenes. It's not quite so rosy as the take that you saw. But that's part of my writing process really is most of the time I'm singing that off tune, off key, with no idea where I'm going, and then I'll land on something that promotes a melody. In this case, it was, I started off just hitting that, which is a third of the D major, and it just seemed to want to go down. And with melodies, you have three choices. You either have an ascending melody, or you have a descending melody, or one that doesn't change. It just stays on the same note. I mean, there's lots of songs with Bob Dylan, not with Bob Dylan, with the Beatles, where it's one note or two notes, and he sort of alternates between the two. But in any case, I was thinking of a descending line, so Mr. Town Town. But then it came back up, so it was like it goes down and goes up. And a lot of melodies, for me, melodies are these shapes in the sound. So you have a pattern that goes down, or a pattern that's revolving around a note. These patterns, I think that's how I really got interested in melodies. Is listening to songs and sort of seeing the visually how the melodies swoop and swirl around and move. And so that was just on a D chord, and instead of going to G or to A, I went to the F major, which is the so F, then G and D, and it sort of has a bluesy feel to it. And that was more or less is the verse, and then the chorus go to sort of just tumbled out as soon as I went to the A chord. The chorus came along really easily. So then I had the verse idea, the chorus idea. So later on, well, I did lyrics before I came up with the bridge element of it. I was working on the lyrics, and one of the first things I came up with was, na, 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 I think the time has come. So then I started to think, well, what? It just sort of, it wasn't something that I'd thought about. It just tumbled out. When I'm working on melodies, I just, say gibberish, and that phrase came out. So the time has come. What's going on? And then, this is the worst job that I've ever done. And that gave me really, then that was the key to the whole song. So it's a guy who is doing a crappy job and wants to quit. And then it was quite easy, really. Then the lyrics sort of rolled out quite without any complications. So the chorus is, today I swear I'll walk away, take your job and stick it where you may. So a simple lyric. I think most of us can identify with somebody in that situation. The bridge, I just thought, well, we've started off in D, we've used G and A, so a very common chord is in that sort of pattern is the B minor. And I was getting lazy, and I didn't want to find a whole new pattern for of chords, so I just thought, well, I'll stay in B minor, but if I just drop down the bass, so it's the B, A, but keeping the rest of the B minor chord going, then the G and F sharp, which is a very common pattern. I mean, if I was doing this with a band, probably I'd play the B minor chord and the bass would walk down. And I think in the last song, Butterfly, I was doing playing one note and then changing the chords over the top, which is called a pedal note, which gives sort of tension. And this is the same sort of thing, but it's the opposite, where I'm keeping the chord the same, but then keeping the chord the same, but going down with the bass. I've watched The Office recently, and every time I say something, I have a really strong desire to add, "That's what she said" after it, but I've resisted it this time. So then the song was complete, really. The verse, the chorus, and a bridge. I recorded it on the second take, because the first take I couldn't remember how to finish the bridge and get back in, and I think I just sort of improvised, which is a G, F. So it's a song that came quite easily. Even the lyrics were quite easy, and I'm very happy with the melody. I think it's a very strong melody, and it's a sing-along song. So for that reason, I'm quite pleased with it. I mean, I'm always pleased with the songs, and I think this one hopefully came out more or less how I sort of envisioned it at the start, and I hope you enjoy it. I think I had other things to mention. It was mainly just, that was melodies and the effect of melodies. For me, if a song is a melody, really, I can't think of a reason for doing something that doesn't have a melody to it in some way or form. You can make a melody out of a drum beat if you're a good enough player, and it's just that the combination. I mean, something I've moaned about a lot is the lack of good melodies. And I think it goes hand in hand with the way society seems to be going backwards in many ways. And, in the 60s, 70s and 80s, you have all these wonderful songs, wonderful melodies, and different types of melodies as well. I think it's a very progressive thing. I think literally it's a mind expanding drug, music, when you're confronted with new ways of, it's new ways of, I guess, music is music, but there's just different ways of making a song or different styles of music. It really does open up your brain. I think every song is like a potential little universe, and when it hits your brain through your ears, it sort of opens up the brain's way of thinking, even before you start taking into account lyrics and the importance of the message of a song. But to give an example, what was it? What was I thinking of? Axel F, the Beverly Hills Cop theme music, which is just an incredibly good instrumental. And I remember at the time when it first came out, it was like, it really hit my brain that it was addictive. The melody was so addictive that it was going around in my head for like days afterwards. And really, it has no right to be in an Eddie Murphy cop film because it's such a good piece of music. But I mean, it was just one of these things where I think there was a lot of good melody writing going on, and I don't think there's a lot of good melody writing going on, or at least in mainstream music. So but this lack of interest in melody, I don't know whether it's lack of interest in writing melodies or lack of interest in hearing melodies. People seem to want to listen to stuff that doesn't have a melody to it. Could be as well just a general closing down of our perception, or a closing down of our willingness to be open to the world, to open to the universe. I think if I'd figured this out more, or if I'd spent more time thinking about it, I would have been able to express it better. But I do think that listening to new music opens your mind in a way that perhaps there's no other way of doing it. Reading a book, I mean, we tend to read things that we like. We tend to fall into patterns of behavior that we repeat. But with music, there's always the option of, you come across something that just makes you feel a certain way that, and especially when you're a teenager as well. I think that music, in combination with the chemical changes going on in the body, that music really does affect teenagers in a way that it doesn't affect us when we're adults. More or less, our tastes are formed. So it's a way of keeping the brain young. For me, is a way, songwriting. I think it's that. I don't know what I'm going to say next, so I'll stop there. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this, and thank you very much for listening. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and please share with your friends if you like what I'm doing. And thank you all again. It really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you soon. Bye.